Hello, pocket knife community, knife lovers, knife enthusiasts, interested viewers. Folder here. The compression lock is a lock that's been around for a while now. I mean, Spyderco's proprietary compression lock has a reputation of being one of the best and strongest locks out there. And the way it works, if you're not familiar with it, is if you noticed inside the tang of the blade, there's a cavity right there, right? So what happens is that cavity, once you rotate the blade open, watch this area right here, boop, pops in there. So basically, essentially, it's a cavity, and then the steel from the lock goes right inside that cavity, creating an incredibly strong lock. And the reason why it's so strong is because that steel is also part of the entire liner of the knife, which is essentially the framework for the frame of the knife. So you got the liner that goes on this side, which is connected to the liner on the other side through screws, which makes up the structure of the knife itself. So the compression lock, literally, that piece of steel goes inside that tang, really locking that blade on hard. So it's a very, very good knife. I mean, well, it's a PM2. It's a very good lock. But there's been a couple of well, before the patent for the compression lock ended, there was a designer. His name is Kevin Smock. Came out with commissioned by Spyderco, whatever, and came out with his own version of a Spyderco, and it's actually called the Spyderco Smock, and it actually uses a compression lock also. It's a little bit different because the steel is on the right side, or the clip side of the knife, instead of being on the show side. If you notice, the compression lock, the lock and clip, is on the show side, or the left side of the knife. But with the smock, you see the gap in the tang, and when it opens up, the steel on this side goes in. And what they did was they just added a little button to actually deploy the locking mechanism. So it is essentially a compression lock. It's just that it has a button instead of the tab, right? With the PM2, it has the button. So you could argue that the smock, with its modified version of the compression lock, is better than the traditional compression lock. You know, it's really an advancement, I would say, in the compression lock. Well, fast forward to today, where the patent is completely over for the compression lock with Spyderco, and they so now anyone that wants to come out and use a compression lock on their knife can, or they can make changes. They can do whatever. And we do have this knife. It's called the Ambi, made by Blades We Love, and it is a Spyderco PM2, right? Spyderco PM2. It's called the Ambi because if you notice the difference between this knife and a regular PM2, the PM2 has a cutout in the frame here, in the scale here, so you can get to that compression lock. Well, the Ambi doesn't have that cutout. It just has a button that goes through, right? And what they did was they took that button and attached it to the compression lock. So, unlike the smock that has the button on the other side and the compression lock on the other side, this is exactly like the PM2, just giving you a button. And essentially what that button allows you to do is two-handed operation, because the flaw, or the weak point of the compression lock, is it is right-handed bias. Okay, and naturally so. When you pinch this, you hold onto the scale with your thumb, and you pinch the tab. To try to do that with your left hand is very difficult because your thumb is on this side now. It's on the pinch side. So now to hold the knife while you're trying to pinch that, it's not ideal. And if you had one of these and you kind of using it, the fluidity, right? Deployment, close, deployment, close. You don't get that fluidity, excuse me guys, with if you're trying to do it left-handed. So with this proprietor or merchant came out with, vendor, if you will, is an ingenious plan. And what he did was he put a hole, he made the scale go straight across instead of making it pinch down. And he put a button on the compression lock, right? Yep, that's what he did. He just put a button on there. Make sure you guys can see that. And that button does the same job as this pinch point, except it's a button. So now, boom, right-handed is no problem, right? This knife is new. That's why it doesn't really move well. And left-handed, you just hit the button and you can just easily close it just by hitting the button. You don't have to worry about pinch points and the knife being unbalanced in your hand. And it's literally called the Spyderco PM2 Ambi. Yeah, so I have a few of these. These are really great. PM2 is one of my favorite knives, if you didn't know. And the Ambi is one of my favorite iterations of that knife. Yeah, the vendor is called Blades We Love. And yeah, he's a good guy. Good guys over there. So anyway, I don't know why I just did some free advertisement for Blades We Love, but I was really just trying to really point out the modification and the improvement on the Spyderco compression lock. Honestly, Spyderco should have actually done that. You know, they really should have. I don't know why they didn't. You know, after the compression lock was created and they realized its shortcomings, this fixes their shortcomings. This one little button, this one little tab really changes the game for this knife when you're talking about full ambidextrous left-handed and right-handed deployment. So yeah, man, it's the compression lock turbocharged. All right, that's all I got, guys. Take care.